Hi, I'm Dan, and this is the first in a short series of these videos about using materials. And in fact, this video is just about applying materials to objects and how to use them. So, a quick introduction to the concept of a material. Um, Sometimes you might have come across the term texturing, and materials can do that, but they're a bit more complicated than just applying textures. They can apply colors, they can do bump mapping, they can do all sorts of things. And uh, basically, they're about the appearance of the surface of an object, what it looks like. You'll see what we mean as we go through, but just as a quick look in the starter content we've got in this project here. Within that, we've got a thing materials, and each of these has a thumbnail which shows you what the material looks like. It's just mapped onto the sphere. Okay, so my setup here is I've just got a straightforward third-person template, but I've also created a small blueprint class just for demonstrating that. We'll start off with, though, static meshes. So this box here is a static mesh, and if we look on the details down here, we can see that it's got a material called cube material, which is this kind of dark grey colour. All meshes have a material. If you don't say what the material is, they will assign a default material. And so there are two ways of getting material onto a mesh. The first one is to drop down this box here and then find one that you like the sound of. There's very, very tiny previews in here, so it doesn't give us a great look. I'm going to use a cobblestone one. There we see that it's appeared in the world. I think it's scaling isn't great on that particular box. That's something that could be fixed in the materials, and we'll be seeing that sort of thing in later videos. I'm going to select another one here, and this time, instead of using the drop-down box, I'm going to search for material that I'm going to want to use. So starter content, materials, and what should we use? Let's use a gold metal. And we can just drag that across into that box there, and it immediately puts the material in. Okay, and that one looks, depends on what we wanted to do with it. Again, it might be overscaled from what we want. And that's the basics of applying materials to static meshes. And I could stop there, but there's just a couple of other things that I want to show you. So the first one is the reason why I've got a blueprint is to show you how to apply materials inside a blueprint. It's very, very similar. This is just got a static mesh component, and if I open it up, you can see the components. There's just that cone component there. I highlight the cone component. Again, we've got this box that says material here. And I'm going to change this to, that's a stony panel. And that should have automatically done that without me needing to save or do anything. There we go. I'm just going to save that and close that down. And then the last one is a little bit of talk about geometry. So I'm going to use a geometry object. I'm going to start with the box. And the default material that happens when you create one of these in your world is this kind of checker pattern material. Now, geometry objects are different from static meshes in many ways. And one of them is that you can't apply a material to all of the surfaces at once. I know easily. So what you can do is you select the individual faces separately, and then a materials box appears. Once again, we can drag and drop in, or we can use the drop-down list. Box lengths. So that's just on that one surface. We can use a different one for a different surface here. Let's use all these high-tech pencils. Okay, changing colour, that's nice. So that's a bit fiddly if you're wanting to do something like stairs as a geometry. So the other thing that you can do with geometries is that you can, if you pre-select a material, let's have rusty metal, and then you create a geometry object, it will automatically apply that material to all the surfaces in the object. That doesn't work for static meshes, it just works for your geometry objects. I can then still go into individual surfaces and change the texture on that surface. Now, if you used geometry objects before, you might know that inside geometry objects, let's just deselect and deselect, you can create a static mesh from that object. Put this down here and click create static mesh. It'll ask me for a place to put the asset. And there we go. And it's maintained the use of the different textures there in that particular instance of the static mesh. However, I'm guessing if I replace the whole thing, now we've got two elements here, so it's actually applying it to two different places. So I'm just going to change that one that I've highlighted into a different texture there. So even as we change it into a static mesh, we still have the ability to change the things individually. So one way of having an object where you've got different materials on different surfaces is to create it as a geometry and then go from there, applying different materials to different surfaces. And that's it from me for now.